Reinhardt, and I'm here at the Vancouver Canucks Calgary Flames game here in Rogers Arena. You're watching Post to Post.
Hello and welcome to Post, the channel where we discuss all things hockey and all teams. Our final series preview video.
Whew.
Are you glad it's over, almost?
It's so much fun, though.
It is fun.
I really enjoy doing these.
Yeah.
Mainly because you do all the work, and I just sit here and go, yep, yep, I agree, yep.
Well, we don't actually have a lot to talk about in this video because these teams, number one, have never played each other in the playoffs, to my knowledge.
Really?
Yes.
Huh.
So it's going to be pretty interesting. And Colorado, I think it's a more of a compliment than anything. There hasn't been a lot of news out of Colorado this year. There has been a lot of drama. There's been some injuries and some other stuff. But it's more of a compliment than anything. There hasn't been a lot to talk about. And their weaknesses are pretty apparent. And the same on Calgary side, too. Their weaknesses are pretty apparent. There's not a lot of question marks, only a couple, and they're just bigger ones. So there's actually not a lot to dive into. So this video should actually be a little bit shorter than most other ones. But that doesn't mean that we are less interested in this series than any others. That's not the case.
Okay.
If we just compare some statistics first, the record of Calgary, 50, 25, and 7, pretty impressive. Colorado, 38, 30, and 14. Advantage Calgary. Goals for, 289 for Calgary, 258 for Colorado. Advantage Calgary. Goals against, 223 for Calgary, 244 for Colorado. Advantage Calgary. Power play, 19.3% for Calgary. Only 19.3%. They should be a little higher than that based on their weapons.
Yeah.
22% for Colorado. Advantage Colorado.
Mm-hmm.
Penalty kill, 79.7 versus 78.7. Advantage Calgary. Face-off winning percentage, 52.4 versus 48.1. Advantage Calgary. So Calgary not only has the advantage as far as everyone knows that they're the powerhouse in this series, but they also have the statistical advantage as well. So
They've also played Colorado 3 times this year and won all 3 games.
There you
so
go.
In head-to-head matchups, you can look at that stat.
Do you think that means something in the playoffs?
I think it means a little bit.
I think it means a little bit too.
Yeah, I don't think it means a gigantic amount because that could actually be motivation for the underdog team to say, okay, now it's our turn to start winning 3 games in a row. And they could maybe do that. But
I'm going to ask one question, and I think you know the answer to it, and I think it pretty much sums up this entire video. How does Calgary defeat Colorado? What's the one thing they need to do against Colorado?
They need to roll their 4 lines, I think. They just need to not try to play the matchup game and just only think about and focus on Nathan MacKinnon. I just think they have to play their game, roll 4 lines, because Colorado's not as deep.
I think that's kind of the point. They're not as deep. I think if all they need to do, in my opinion, is shut down that top line. Because no offense to Colorado's one of my top 5 teams. They're not as deep, like you said. They're just not as deep. So then they can't compensate without that top line. They just can't compensate. They don't have that offensive depth on the team, and that's really unfortunate. So good for Calgary. Mm-hmm. Very bad for Colorado. But if they don't shut down that top line, then that becomes Calgary's problem. So
yeah,
I think that's priority number 1 for Calgary is to shut down that top. If they shut down that top line and don't win this series, it's a problem. That's going to be crazy.
Yeah.
And that leads into the next question: goaltending. If Colorado does win this series, Calgary goaltending might be the reason why.
It might be. I still don't know if they're going to start Riddick or not, but
I assume they're going to start Smith, but I would have really hoped that they would start Riddick.
The numbers suggest you should go with your hotter goalie this season.
Go with statistics and hotter seasonal goalie, or go with tremendous experience?
That tremendous experience, if it's going to have value in the playoffs, it would have had more value in the regular season. Mm-hmm. So I would go with Riddick. I would be a bit experimental here, because you need to find out soon, especially against a team that you might be able to beat anyway, who your goalie is going to be in the rest of the playoffs.
Yes, absolutely. That's a very, very good point. Yep. I would say James Neal needs to elevate his game. He's had, I would say, less than average year as James Neal.
Yeah.
His points per game is I think 0.3 points per game, which is above the league average. But as far as James Neal, I would, and consider what he's being paid, he is woefully underperforming. He needs to elevate his game to the James Neal that we know and have seen when he played for all those other great teams.
Oh, yeah. If he only gets 0.3 points per game in a 7-game series, that means he's only getting 2 points.
Yeah.
And you divide that by salary, then you look at your money return there. He does need to pick it up. And I don't know James Neal well. I haven't followed his career closely, but some players, they play about 80% during the regular season, and then they turn it up later. So if he can do that, then they're going to get
definitely.
They're going to get their value out of him.
We'll see. Hopefully, I hope it happens.
Yeah.
I feel bad for Calgary fans a little bit with that contract. Johnny Gaudreau is probably one of the most skilled players, puck handlers, playmakers in the league. But I'm so frustrated with watching him sometimes. He just won't shoot the puck. There was in that last game against Edmonton, he dangled around like 3 people, got in front of the net, had a clear shot with no obstacles to the goalie, and tried to pass the puck. Like, Johnny, shoot the puck. And because he's a talented goal scorer as well.
Oh, yeah.
I really hope that he just focuses on taking the shot if he has the opportunity. Don't always think pass first. So I really hope I see that from Johnny Gaudreau this series. I would say Tkachuk needs to keep his cool.
Yep.
He has done that, I would say, this past year. He's been very good compared to what he was the previous year. But he's a difference maker for that team. He's going to be physical. He's going to be throwing some bodies, and he's going to be making some nice plays. He's very offensively gifted as well. So it's going to be really exciting to watch him in a playoff series. I think use speed to their advantage. Colorado is also a very fast team, extremely fast. Oh. So I think Calgary needs to match that speed and maybe try and go on a little bit beyond that. And I think that's one of their biggest assets as well. Is Calgary's a very fast team, so make sure that they continue to play as a fast team going into these playoffs. I would say try and shut down MacKinnon, but not just shut him down, but try and frustrate him. He gets peeved very easily. We saw MacKinnon throw a little bit of a tantrum on the bench this year.
Yes.
Not for the first time in his career either. So I would say try and frustrate him as much as you can, and not just check him, but take the puck away from him constantly, because he's a very good stick handler, and that's a massive challenge. But if you can take the puck away before he gets a chance to make a play, it's just going to drive him crazy. So I think that little tiny bit of the game could make a big difference in the series. So hopefully they do that.
Yeah.
Did you want to say something?
Well, I was just thinking of MacKinnon's assets and his talent. He's an explosive player with his speed is just unmatched in the league. And when Calgary, they shouldn't be focused on him. They shouldn't just play the entire game against Nathan MacKinnon. But when he is on the ice, especially when they're on the road, and Colorado has the last line change, he will be on the ice at times when Calgary would prefer not to have their particular set of players out there. They're going to really need to be aware of that and not pinch. They're going to have to keep their 2D back. They're going to have to play a little more relaxed game. Even if they're a goal down, they can't be going for that goal when MacKinnon's on the ice, because unless there's 5 minutes left, you have no choice. But if it's late in the second period and you're down by a goal and MacKinnon's on the ice, don't do something crazy and pinch.
He'll be
because
risky.
He will bite you.
Yep.
And before you even know it, you'll be digging the puck out of your net.
Exactly. Yeah.
So you got to be careful there.
I would say that Colorado needs to find depth scoring. If they don't, they're not only winning the series, they're not winning the cup. Colorado doesn't have the scoring depth to go deep in the playoffs, as far as the season statistics would say. I'm not saying they can't find that offensive depth, but they need to if they want to go deep. This is their test against Calgary. If they get by Calgary because they find that offensive depth, I'm pretty scared of Colorado. Actually, I'm very scared of Colorado. So we'll see. I think, my next point goes to one of the last points you made about Calgary and MacKinnon. Capitalize on Calgary's risky pinches, force 2-on-1s and odd man rushes. We see Calgary get caught a little bit, more so in the last couple of games I watched Calgary play in the regular season. They got caught a lot pinching, and that led to 2-on-1s against them and 4-on-2s and 3-on-2s. So Colorado needs to be aware of that, and I'm sure there are. Their video guys have already gone over that stuff. Yeah. Use their power play success to take command of the game. There's going to be penalties in the game, and if Colorado can get a power play early in the game, score a big power play goal, and take command and control of the game, I think that puts Calgary on their heels a little bit. They're a little bit nervous, so I think Colorado needs to really focus on getting the first goal, regardless if it's on the power play or just in general. So, but on the power play, they need to be successful because it's one of their best assets. I would say grind them down physically. Calgary has a lot of smaller skilled players. Not that Monahan's small, but Johnny Gaudreau specifically is pretty small. A lot of the times he gets hit, and he can tell that the pain on his face. He only weighs like 140 pounds, or not really, but I'm sure he weighs probably like 180 or whatever it is. But throw him around and frustrate him. Be super physical in this series, but not overly physical that you're going to find yourself in the penalty box. And I would say just block shots. Okay, Calgary's going to come at you. They have so many weapons, and they're going to be shooting so much. Hopefully, Johnny Gaudreau, block shots and just help the goalie. That's really all I have to say. I like to have faith in Colorado, but I'm kind of thinking that Calgary's going to not sweep them, but I'm predicting Calgary in 6.
I'm predicting Calgary in 5.
Yeah, I'm
not hoping for that necessarily. I am hoping that Calgary goes farther because I'm just wired up to support Canadian teams.
Are you cheering for Calgary?
I am. I am in the series. And maybe depending on who they play next, I probably will be again. It's Calgary's time has come. They haven't won the Cup since 1989, and they've not really even been contendingly close.
Really?
Since then. I don't.
Do you don't remember 2004?
Well, I do, but it didn't capture me, and I wasn't really paying much attention to hockey then either.
I was emotionally invested and heartbroken in 2004.
But Colorado, they're overdue as well. It's going to be interesting. Colorado probably has the better of the two teams for the first line, for the top line.
I agree.
And Calgary likely has better, maybe not massively better lines than the rest of the 3 lines.
Mm-hmm.
But the downside for Colorado is they can't play Landeskog, Rantanen, MacKinnon for 60 minutes or more.
Yeah.
They might get 19 or 20 minutes out of these guys, and that's pushing them pretty hard.
Yeah, plus we don't know Rantanen's injury situation. Is he going to come back? I don't know.
Yes.
Another factor is going to be Giordano, who's having a potential award-winning season. I don't want to say the name and jinx it. It's going to be a pretty close vote, I think. But Colorado needs to be very aware of Giordano and his skill. He's an old guy. I think he's 37.
Yeah.
Around there. But
and I think all teams, especially these two teams, I think they would benefit from trying to break the game down into blocks, 5-minute blocks or 3-minute blocks, and just try to achieve your objective for the next 3 minutes or the next 5 minutes. Not think about 2 periods down the road or the game 2 nights from now.
Yeah, that's a good way to look at it.
Just focus on the now and just get her done and keep your head down. Both teams have challenges, and both teams have great assets.
Gerard Gallant made a comment very similar to that last year during the playoffs. He says,
Is that right?
we play in increments. We achieve small goals, which lead to big goals. And that's a good way of looking at it.
I must have heard it, and it planted in my brain, because I certainly didn't invent it. I'm not that smart. Yeah. Very good.
Yeah, cool. Yeah. So that wraps it up. You say Calgary in 5. I say Calgary in 6. You're cheering for Calgary. I am actually cheering for Calgary as well, even though that officially on my list of favorite teams, Colorado is above Calgary. Calgary's a Canadian team, and I want to see them do well. And I do genuinely like Calgary. So it's going to be a good series. It's going to be exciting, and looking forward to it. So the next video that you'll see from us is probably going to be probably the podcast, I think, this Sunday. So if you're not subscribed, hope you can hit subscribe so you can listen to our podcast every single Sunday. Beyond that, I think we'll probably maybe do some half-series game analysis or half-series analysis. And
both series will be 2 games in by the time we do the podcast on Sunday, so everything should be evened up. There's a lot of games on Sunday as well, including at least one afternoon game.
Oh, snap.
Which I love afternoon playoff hockey. I love it.
Heck yeah.
Yeah.
That's what I'm talking
about. It'll be on NBC, I'm sure.
Yeah. So anyways, hope you guys are excited for the playoffs. As you're watching this, they've already started and you already know what's going on. As we're filming this, they haven't started yet. We're about to go watch the first game of the playoffs. So we're pretty jazzed, pretty excited. So thanks, guys, for watching. Appreciate it. Hope you're having a good day. And we'll see you in the next video. Adios.